Grocery prices are exploding again. In July 2025 alone, Walmart shoppers are seeing double-digit spikes on items we buy every single week. Ground beef? Up 20%. Tomatoes? Nearly 50%. Even everyday basics are starting to feel like luxuries, and families are feeling the pressure with every receipt. So let me ask you, how much more are you willing to pay for the same basket of groceries? Because these aren't slow, gradual increases, they're hitting fast and they're hitting hard. Stick around, because number one will hit your wallet where it hurts most. 10. Ground beef. Let's start with the classic, ground beef. It's in your burgers, your tacos, your meatloaf. It's one of the most purchased items at Walmart, and in July 2025, it's also one of the fastest rising. New tariffs on Brazilian beef imports are slamming prices. What used to be affordable weeknight meals are turning into budget busters. Last summer, it was $3.49 on the pound. Now, $4.18. And it's not done climbing. Think about this. You plan a summer cookout for friends and family. 10 people. A couple packs of ground beef. Suddenly, you're paying 30% more for the same exact food you bought last year. And you didn't buy anything fancy, just Walmart's regular ground beef. That's not a luxury. That's your grocery list becoming your financial stress. This isn't just about meat, it's about what meat represents. Family, connection, tradition. It's the smell of burgers on the grill, the sizzle of a weeknight dinner. Now imagine feeling like you have to cut back on those moments because the price tag makes you think twice. That's what inflation is really doing. It's not just raising costs. It's stealing comfort. Here's the hard question. How many more small increases like this can you absorb before something has to give? Before you stop buying what you actually want and start sacrificing because of a silent price shift? And remember, this is just number 10. What's climbing faster than ground beef? Keep watching. It's coming. 9. Fresh tomatoes. Tomatoes. They're not just food, they're flavor. From burgers to salads to homemade sauces, fresh tomatoes are a staple in American kitchens. But now, Walmart shoppers are paying a steep new price for that staple. With the US pulling out of a major trade agreement with Mexico, tariffs are back, and they're hitting tomato imports hard. That means Walmart's shelves are stocked with fruit that's climbing fast in cost. It's not just a slow burn. It's a price explosion. One Florida shopper said it best, "I blinked and they were $3.29 on a pound." That's not a joke, it's reality. Overnight, the tomatoes you casually toss into your cart just became one of the most expensive items in your produce run. And the worst part? There's no label warning you. No bright sticker screaming price doubled, just a quiet gut punch at the register. Let's be real, this isn't just about tomatoes. It's about trust. It's about realizing that even the most basic, healthy, everyday ingredients at Walmart can suddenly slip out of reach. And if a humble tomato is now a budgeting problem, what does that say about what's coming next? If a BLT sandwich is becoming a luxury, what else are we going to lose? So here's the question. How do you protect your grocery bill when inflation hides in the produce aisle? When prices jump overnight and no one tells you until it's too late? Think about that and stay locked in. Because what's coming at number 8 affects almost every single breakfast table in America. 8. Eggs. Let's talk about something that used to be a no-brainer on every grocery list. Eggs. For decades, eggs were the symbol of affordable protein. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, baking, meal prep, you name it. But in July 2025, that carton sitting on Walmart's shelf isn't the humble bargain it used to be. We're talking $5.79 for just 12 eggs. Not organic, not cage-free, just standard eggs. That's a 33% price jump in less than a year, and most families are feeling the squeeze. Especially when eggs were once the easiest way to stretch a tight grocery budget. But what's really causing this spike? It's a triple hit. Bird flu has decimated poultry farms across the country, feed prices are at record highs, and labor shortages continue to drive costs up. The result? What used to be a breakfast staple is now becoming a luxury. And if you've got kids, you know this isn't just about nutrition. It's about routine, about comfort, about keeping something simple and reliable on the table. One mom put it perfectly: scrambled eggs used to be my fallback. Now I have to plan for them. Let me ask you this. When did we start treating eggs like filet mignon? When did a dozen start costing more than a drive-through meal? If this doesn't make you rethink every aisle you walk down at Walmart, it should. Because when something as basic as eggs gets priced out of reach, it's not just inflation, it's a warning. A sign that your entire grocery strategy needs to adapt fast. And trust me, what's coming next on this list makes it clear. Eggs are just the beginning. And here's the real gut punch. If eggs are rising this fast, what about everything else that comes from the same aisle? You guessed it, dairy's up next. Milk, cheese, and butter are all creeping toward price tags we've never seen before. So before you even finish your breakfast, your grocery bill has already doubled. That's why this countdown matters. We're not just naming random items, we're uncovering the trapdoors hidden in your weekly Walmart run. Ready for the next shocker? Let's talk dairy. 5 to 7 whole milk and cheese. Let's talk about something that used to feel like a grocery staple: milk and cheese. For decades, families counted on these items to be reliable, affordable, and always on the list. But in July 2025, even the basics are under attack. Walmart's own CEO sounded the alarm, admitting that dairy prices aren't just rising, they're not coming back down anytime soon. Whole milk, shredded cheese, block cheddar, they're all creeping higher with every visit. And what makes this especially frustrating? Most of us won't even notice until the receipt smacks us with reality. Behind the scenes, it's a mess. Climate disruptions, chaotic supply chains, and staffing shortages are all colliding at once. And the dairy aisle at Walmart is where it's hitting hardest. One dad in Arizona shared that his monthly grocery total jumped by $30, and nearly half of that was just from milk and cheese. That's not a small bump. That's the kind of price shift that forces real choices. Do I buy less? Switch to off-brands? Or just brace for it and cut something else instead? And if you're feeling this squeeze, you're not alone. It's happening in homes across America. Here's the kicker. Dairy isn't flashy. It's not candy or soda. It's the quiet stuff we depend on. For breakfast, for kids' lunches, for dinner recipes we've made 100 times. So when prices rise here, it doesn't feel like inflation. It feels personal. Let me ask you something. How often do you check the price tag on a gallon of milk? Probably not often. But the next time you're at Walmart, take a second look. Because this one's sneaky, and it's not slowing down. Oh, coffee. Coffee isn't just a drink. For millions of Americans, it's a ritual. It's the first thing we reach for when the alarm goes off. That warm, comforting moment before the day explodes with noise, stress, and to-do lists. And now, even that sacred routine is under siege. At Walmart, coffee prices are quietly climbing, sip by sip. Global supply issues, droughts in Brazil, the world's biggest coffee exporter, and rising shipping costs have all combined to push prices up more than 15%. That's not just inflation. That's your peace of mind being taxed. Think about it. How many times have you grabbed a can of ground coffee at Walmart without checking the price? It was always affordable, dependable, part of your routine. But those days are gone. And here's the emotional punch. When something as small as a cup of coffee gets pricier, it's not just about money. It's about control. It feels like even the little joys, the affordable comforts, are slipping through our fingers. And Walmart shoppers across the country are starting to ask, what's next? Will we need a budget spreadsheet just to brew a pod? Let me ask you something personal. How much would you pay to keep your morning ritual untouched? Because the way things are headed, that decision is no longer optional. And if you're noticing it now, imagine what coffee prices will look like in 60 days. If you thought milk and cheese were sneaky, this one's hitting you where it hurts most, before the day even begins. Quick pause here. If this video is helping you stay ahead of the price surge, give it a like and hit subscribe. At Frugal Daily, we dig deep to save you money where it matters most. And now, back to the list. It gets even more frustrating. 5. Bananas. Bananas used to be the budget hero of the fruit aisle. The one thing you could always count on to stay cheap, reliable, and packed with value. Whether tossed in a lunchbox, blended into a smoothie, or eaten straight from the peel, bananas were the quiet MVP of weekly grocery runs. But not anymore. In July 2025, even this humble fruit is falling victim to skyrocketing prices. At Walmart, what once cost you 28 cents per pound is now ringing up at 41 cents. And sure, that might not sound like a big deal until you realize how often you're buying them. Let's break it down. For a family of 4, that's dozens of bananas every week. Multiply that by weeks in a month and you're suddenly looking at an extra $10.15 just on one fruit. And the reason? Tariffs on Latin American imports are squeezing supply, and retailers like Walmart are adjusting their price tags fast. One shopper told us she didn't even notice the change until her usual $5 fruit haul jumped to $7. That's how sneaky this is. It chips away slowly, quietly, until the total hits you like a cold splash of reality at the checkout line. And here's the real punchline. If bananas, the icon of affordability, aren't safe anymore, what is? What else in your cart is silently inching higher while you're distracted by deals and rollback signs? It's a tough question, but one you can't ignore. So tell me, when was the last time you really looked at the price tag on your go-to fruit? Because at Walmart, even the safe items are starting to slip through our fingers. Chicken. For years, chicken has been the budget-conscious shopper's best friend. It's the default dinner choice, the protein that shows up in casseroles, salads, sandwiches, you name it. At Walmart, chicken was always the one thing you could count on to stretch a dollar and still feed the whole family. But in July 2025, even that's changing. Feed prices have surged. Packaging costs have spiked. And with demand still sky high, Walmart's shelves are reflecting the pressure. Suddenly, your go-to affordable meat isn't so affordable anymore. And here's where it really hits home. One dad from North Carolina told us, "We used to eat chicken 4 nights a week. Now? 2, maybe 3. It's not cheap anymore." That's not just a menu change, that's a lifestyle shift. It means rethinking meals, explaining to your kids why dinner looks different, and watching every dollar closer than ever. For many families, Walmart was the last defense against these rising costs. But now, even their pricing can't hold the line. When chicken starts feeling like a luxury, you know the game has changed. So ask yourself, how much longer can we call this the budget option? When you walk into Walmart and see the price per pound creeping higher week after week, do you still feel in control? Or are we all just trying to keep up? And if chicken's no longer the fallback plan, what's left? Brace yourself. Item 3 will make you rethink your entire grocery list. 3. Avocados. Remember when avocados were the trendy health food that somehow stayed affordable? Those days are officially over. In July 2025, avocados at Walmart are making a hard pivot from breakfast staple to luxury item. With nearly every avocado in the US imported from Mexico, new restrictions and tariffs are slamming supply chains. The result? That once reliable $29 fruit is now pushing $1.79 or more, a 25% spike that happened practically overnight. One shopper summed it up with a laugh that felt a little too real. "I didn't think I'd ever say this, but I might be done with avocado toast." And honestly, that joke is starting to sound more like a survival tactic than a punchline. But let's be honest, this isn't just about toast. It's about what it represents. Avocados have become a symbol of balance in the American diet. Healthy fats, nutrient-rich, versatile, and now suddenly out of reach for many families. At Walmart, where shoppers look for value above all else, this jump hits hard. Because when even the good-for-you options start to feel out of budget, people are forced to choose between price and nutrition. And no one should have to do that. we're watching everyday choices quietly turn into calculations, and that's not how grocery shopping is supposed to feel. Here's the real question. If something as simple as guacamole is becoming a special occasion item, what does that say about where grocery prices are heading? How long before more fruits, more staples follow the same path? And how many items will quietly become luxuries before we even realize it? The scary part is, we're not done yet. What comes next might surprise you even more. And if you thought avocados were bad, item number 2 hits your sweet tooth right where it hurts. Sugary snacks and candy. Even your guilty pleasures are taking a hit, and that stings in a different way. It's one thing to see staples like milk or meat go up, but when even candy isn't safe, that's personal. Global shortages in sugar and cocoa are driving up costs faster than most shoppers realize. And the moment you walk into Walmart's candy aisle, it's obvious. Prices that used to stay flat for years are now jumping by the week. What used to be a $1.09 chocolate bar is now $1.29, a 20-cent jump that doesn't feel small when it's everywhere. It's a reminder that even our small escapes aren't immune to the pressure. A shopper put it best. It's like inflation followed me into my cravings. And that hits harder than it sounds. These aren't luxury items. They're the little rewards, the 5-minute breaks, the snacks we grab after a long day. At Walmart, where people go to feel like their dollar stretches further, it's disheartening to realize even your comfort food is shrinking or rising in price. And if you've got kids, multiply that by every snack, every lunchbox treat, every impulse grab near checkout. Suddenly, a few extra dollars turn into a monthly spike you didn't budget for. And what's worse, you still leave the store feeling like you bought less than ever. So here's a question. What happens when the things we reach for to feel better start making us feel worse? When every bite of relief comes with a side of sticker shock? Walmart used to be the place where you could indulge a little without guilt, but now even that's being stripped away. And just when you thought this list couldn't hit any harder, wait until you hear about item number 1. It's the biggest shock of them all. Juices and sodas. Juices and sodas, the quiet giant of your cart. These aren't flashy items, but they add weight, color, and comfort to nearly every grocery run. Whether it's a carton of orange juice for breakfast or a 12-pack of cola for the weekend, they've always felt like small indulgences that didn't break the bank. But now, that's changing fast. Citrus shortages, packaging issues, and rising aluminum costs are pushing prices higher than anyone expected. At Walmart, orange juice is already up 3.4%. Soda multi-packs? Hitting every shelf with a heavier price tag. These aren't price hikes you can ignore anymore. They're hitting right where it hurts. And here's the part that stings. It's not just the money. It's the feeling that even the simple comforts are being taken away. A cold soda after a long day or a glass of juice with breakfast used to be no-brainers. Now, they come with hesitation. One shopper said, "It's like I'm budgeting joy now." That's what inflation is doing in 2025. It's not just squeezing your wallet, it's reshaping your habits, your routines, your ability to treat yourself and your family without guilt. At Walmart, where people come to find relief, these subtle increases feel like a betrayal of what the store used to represent. And that emotional cost? It's steep. Let's be real. If even our drinks are becoming a luxury, what does that say about where we're headed? How many more items are going to slip through our fingers while we're just trying to keep up? When soda starts to feel like a splurge and juice is suddenly a maybe, it's clear. This isn't just about groceries. It's about how the rising cost of living is changing the way we live. And if you've felt that shift lately, you're not imagining it. You're living it. Here's the truth. This isn't just about spending less, it's about outsmarting the system. When you know what's rising, you stop getting blindsided at checkout and start shopping with intention. It's not just about saving money, it's about protecting your peace of mind every time you walk into Walmart. So tell me, which item hit you hardest today? Drop it in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes, you need to check out our next one. 12 Walmart shopping secrets you can't afford to ignore. It's packed with insider tips that could save you way more than just a few bucks. It might just change the way you shop forever.